Warm welcome to everyone here as we gather around and settle in for session 16 of the Shrouded Shore. I'm Ameline, Dragon Mom, and Dungeon Master for today's session, and with me are Cross as,
Justicia.
Draken as,
Maker.
Verdazin as,
Grim.
and Yulia doing what I should probably be doing and taking the day off to rest. We are going
But
to be having.
no,
No,
here we are.
here we
You're a
are.
workaholic.
Slaves to the whims of corporation.
Yes, I am. I have big tired energy at all times, but especially today. So we are going to be having a bit of a short session today, but I think we can still have a fun one. So, speaking of which, would anyone like to kick us off with a summary of last session?
I can do it.
Go for it, Stisha.
Last time on the Shrouded Shore, despite her own misgivings, Bayleaf was successfully named the War Mother of the Resistance, an all-Peruvian title of leadership. Seeing as the party's plans to assault a distracted stronghold, the leaders of the Resistance suggested a spar between its members and the party to improve morale. With no hesitation, the challenge was accepted, and the arena battle ensued. Taking advantage of the party's poor initiative, they were assailed by magic bullets and axes, nearly dooming Bayleaf in round one. But,
You just
but she, what?
sorry. No,
But she
continue.
held firm, and unfortunately for the opposing side, Crom was allowed a turn. With expert teamwork from our dear gunner, each swing of his blade smashed through their defenses, making quick work of all it touched. On the other side of the arena, Maker kept the remaining opposition busy. Desticia was there too. She cast a spell and exploded once, but that's all she managed to contribute. With a final heroic recovery from Bayleaf, the last strike was made and the battle was over. Now recovering from the bout, the Resistance begins its true operation as first true operation as a united force, the assault of Northern Part 2. Session 16 of of the Shrouded Shore, Driftwood. Maybe I'll get to show off next time.
What a concise and unbiased summary we have from Bayleaf there. Not bitter at all for
From
being such a
Bailiff.
good. From, not from Bayleaf, from Distisha. For being
Oh,
such
wait, let
a.
me do it as Bailey. 1 second.
No,
Just
no, no, no,
let's
no,
do this.
no, no, stop, no, no. Shh. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're safe. Um, but yes, have an extra hero point. You did not manage to lose um, your bonus hero point. Congratulations.
Good.
But it has been just over a week since you departed the harbor of Sithalagan on this vessel. It is the last day of Tintri, the last day of summer, actually, by the Partuvian calendar. And you're getting just a breath of cool wind from the south, kind of wafting off the land and over the sea. Your flagship is at once very large and very crowded. Basically, every vessel in this fleet is packed as tightly as possible with soldiers and supplies, and unlike Eridan's dreadnoughts, these ships were never really meant for transporting troops around. There's quite a few people who are stowed in places intended for radishes or barrels of mead rather than people. During daylight hours, there's activity everywhere as the crew aims to keep the ship moving while the rebels it transports aim to stay out of the way. But this isn't quite daylight hours yet. It's early morning, and the deck is, aside from a few people on watch or people tending to the rigging, the deck is largely clear. It's one of the only times of day that you can sort of get a little space to yourself and take a breather. you don't have private cabins despite your position of importance. You basically share one private cabin between you. There just isn't enough space to allocate that to people. The space that would have been used for a normal ship's captain has been converted into the war room, basically. So, unless you're fond of sleeping on a table with a bunch of pointy little miniatures on it, you're probably better off finding a hammock somewhere. That being said, would anyone be up in sort of the pre-dawn, getting some fresh air, taking a moment of quiet for themselves?
Tishy is not a morning. She's asleep.
Rom would probably be up. He's probably out wistfully staring out at the horizon with with the wind blowing through his hair and arm resting on the railing of the ship's bow in a contemplative pose.
Maker would be awake because he doesn't sleep, but he would be under
Under the decks?
decks. Yes.
Right.
Why would he be under a desk?
He's probably in he's in the war room, I expect.
Yeah. He would be working. He's a workaholic.
He can't imagine that. But,
Yeah.
as Crom is staying there, looking incredibly majestic, the wind blowing behind him. It took a few tries. Like, when he stood closer to the front of the ship, the wind was just sort of blowing the fur into his face constantly. Excuse me, my goodness. Pardon. But, he's found a good position that, the slipstream, such as it is, flatters him, gets his cloak billowing contemplatively. Back up in Gyorza, you used to be able to do this with like a good craggy cliffside. You could just sort of survey the lowlands, and basically everyone surveys the lowlands now and then. It's just a good way to collect your thoughts. Here, you have to settle for the deck of a ship. But, Crom, you're actually approached by someone you recognize from the meeting and from the brawl. It is the Dryad commander of the Western forces, the Roshin, Commander Roshin. She used her druidic magic to pretty good effect in that battle, and sort of walks over light steps. You can catch her very easily in the early morning light from the faint green glow that comes from her eyes as she sort of leans up against the railing near you and glances over. You don't have a title, but you're second to the War Mother, aren't you?
That's what I've been told.
Hmm.
I haven't really asked for that for myself, but I believe Bayleaf trusts me for that position.
An advisor, then. We all have them. There is little that can tell any commander who they should draw their advice from. It's something that you have to learn to trust with time. But confess, I am curious about your little group. You travel with some remarkable individuals, and from that battle that we fought, you are perhaps the most remarkable among them, though not in as obvious a way. She glances over you again and
You
shrugs.
flatter me.
Not flattery, assessment. I'm curious. You're a warrior, first and foremost. That is what I see in you, at least. Would I be correct?
Uh, Indeed, you would be.
As one warrior to another, I must ask, what do you think of your companions? You may choose not to answer if you would prefer not to, but I confess I am... They're interesting, are they not? A saint and an unexpected commander, to say the least. And a Lakmaran. I had not expected to be fighting side by side with the machine folk.
To be fair, I wasn't expecting to actually be standing on the island as a free person when this all began. So you take what you can get.
Indeed.
But as for my companion, I trust them. Justicia may be Justicia, but she's shown herself to be quite capable, and even though she's from Eridan, she I don't see her betraying or going back anytime soon. Seeing as she was on the prison barge with us, Maker's an odd sort, but his I confess that his goals are quite similar to mine. So if we could help each other out, uh, that's more than enough for me. Plus, he knows his way around a hammer and uh and a forge. Well, not really a forge, more of a tinkerer he is, but he knows how to make the odd contraption. So you've seen his
The,
lobster thing.
yes, the crustacean machine. It is
Honestly,
currently stowed with the flatbacks, I believe.
honestly, I don't know where he keeps the thing most of the time. It just seems to come out of nowhere.
I had... Between you and me, I saw it packed up. It's remarkably compact. Slightly unsettling to see it fold into itself like that, but
More
I...
unsettling for it to be behind you while in the middle of the jungle suddenly.
Strange. I
And
would not have thought to be unsettled by a creature of that size, but something about it being unliving is off-putting. I agree.
and Bayleaf, uh, for she may have been thrust into this position of power, but her heart's in the right place. She's going to need help. I can't imagine she expected to be a leader of the resistance for her homeland, but she has tenacity. She's and quite the love for this land. So I can't really see a better person for her to be leading this. Both she has a large heart and a great love for her people.
I see.
Something that you
Precious.
want in a commander.
Precious few do seem to, precious few good leaders expect to find themselves there, I think. A few years ago, I was little more than a huntress myself. I scarcely even talked to most of the people in the nearby settlements, kept to the woods. It's been disconcerting needing to learn how to interact, but I would rather people like myself and Warmer the driver than those calculating machines in Eridan who scheme for decades to put themselves in a position of authority.
what's that different from any other politician anyway?
Hmm.
Everyone's scheming and planning for the benefit of their own, but you have to keep your eye out on the good ones. Having a planner or a schemer on your side isn't really that much of a problem, I'd say.
Once upon a time, we were able to pretend that such things were family politics and little more. With a shared banner, I doubt that will be the case. We'll need to cultivate our own roster of planners and schemers, I suspect, once this is over. If it's
Mhm.
over. I prefer to think in terms of absolutes. Will you're clearly not of this land. Are you planning on staying here? Should all go well.
Currently, he turns to her and leans his back against the railing. This place has the closest idea for the closest lead to what my clan has been trying to do for decades at this point. I'm going to probably stick around, see what I can do, but this place this place is already building up to strike against Erodin and their gods. If I can aid aid in that, I would. If I don't aid in that, I wouldn't be really much be living up to the Grimm family name, now would I?
The Grimm family name. Curious.
It's though it sound it's not grim in the sake of like
No, I
you know
understand. I
sad
understand.
in
Simply, uh, hmm,
in um in Goziren it roughly translates to power.
I see. A worthy name. And your first name, if I might ask? I'm again curious.
Rom. It's it has depending on how you spell it, it either could mean crooked or thunder. I prefer the thunder part myself.
Understandable. Your parents chose, well, you, I suppose, but I imagine that, like most folk, your family had gave you these names.
Oh, yes. Nah, I was pretty young back then to choose a name for myself. Now, would I?
Uh, we dryads often go most of our youth without a name. We are rare creatures and live in the woods, at one with the land more than its people. It's. I expect there are some of my siblings, metaphorically, of course, who've still got no idea what this conflict even means for them. But over time, I've adjusted. I've learned to consider myself a child of Partu, not just the little patch of woods where I was born. And I'm hardly of a place to condemn taking whatever we can from other lands. I mean, look at me. She holds out both of her hands, palms up, as if presenting them for inspection. You can make a nature check or perception check if you like.
I shall make a perception.
A nature check is significantly easier, but
I forgot to log into
oh
Forge.
dear.
Foundry. I was logged on. I went on to Twitch
Oh dear.
He's dead.
uh, why can't I click on the Twitch screen dream? Browser extension to allow all of Twitch chat to play. If she's showing you something, you don't see what it is. Not offhand, anyway. It does look like she's attempting to illustrate something, though, with her hands held out in the lamplight.
I'm sorry, but I don't understand what you're trying to show me. He says, leaning in closer to look it over.
Ah, of course. Look, a bit closer in the light. She takes one of Crom's hands and puts it in hers and then transfers it to the other. The hands have noticeably different textures, and on close inspection, they look to be different kinds of wood. My body is rowan, but one of my arms is oak. I lost it when I was younger and a bit more reckless. Uh, it took time and a carpenter's effort and no small amount of experimentation to find a branch that would serve me as well as the one I lost. But being foreign to my body does not mean it serves me any less. As you've seen, it channels my soul and my spells as well as any other, and it's certainly no less deft. In times of danger, I have truthfully been glad to have such a sturdy right arm. I would be weaker if I had not replaced it. Certainly, I would be weaker if I'd simply left a gaping hole in my shoulder where a limb ought to be. But as I see it, Partu is wounded. We would be foolish not to accept grafts from lands afar to give us strength where we can.
I would. He leans back again. I would. I'm probably. I'm quite sure that my family in Gazira would be head over heel to come down here and help Part 2 in their troubles. Unfortunately, I actually have no idea what happened to them currently. I'd really like to find out what happened after my arrest.
I do not wish to offer false hope, but it is a difficult thing to pull up any tree by the roots. Families, no less. From what I've heard of your situation, I would be shocked if there were no survivors.
He waves his hand dismissively. I'm pretty sure they're all right, though. A bit scattered probably, but as long as they manage to get to our escape lanes, I'm pretty sure they're all right. They have my sister there with them. She's she's as fierce as any Goziran beast, much more so than me. You should see her when she gets into a duel. Oh boy.
Terrifying thought.
She actually forsakes weapons. Can you believe that? She just fights barehanded, tooth and claw.
Remarkable. If we had even just a single battalion of soldiers like you, then I expect this war would be over, well, by the end of the season. Still.
Fortunately, I had battalion of soldiers like that up in Gaziron, and that didn't do well. Well, I guess if we actually had Part Two's resources, maybe we could do a little better, but that's the past. This is now.
Perhaps you are more exceptional than you're giving yourself credit for, then.
I work on it.
You know, I think I'm... She pauses and squints, looking out at the horizon where the slowly rising sun is glistening against the waves. Say, do you see that? Pardon. She points. Give me another perception check.
Roll.
You do not see it. You,
Let's see. Do I want to use can I use one of those mythic points?
you can. It's only plus 1d6, though. So,
Roll 6. 3. So
19 does give you enough that you think you can see... you could see something on the water. It looks like it might be a ship, maybe, kind of on the horizon.
that a ship? Are we
I'm not
expecting any
imagining
ships?
it, then. That is not one of ours, and this isn't one of the normal Imperial trade routes. I wonder if they are... One moment, I will go... I see. I will go fetch the Captain Enya and those on the ship. I believe the War Mother is inspecting one of the other vessels, but she will be filled in on this promptly. Hold and keep an eye on that. She steps back and hails down and points out to some of the other lookouts the vessel that you've seen. Excuse me again. Something in my chest today. While she darts below deck and gathers up Maker, may have to shake Destisha awake and kind of drag her up to the deck. By the time you arrive, there's a good few armed people mustering onto the deck, taking up positions, passing around a spyglass. The
What is it?
Admiral Enya arrives looking unhurried shortly after Destisha does. She's gnawing on a biscuit, kind of just working away at the edges of the sturdy seafaring snack. So, it seems that we've got some unexpected... Quarry or a hunter? Only one ship versus our many. That implies prey, not predator. And that's no dreadnought. She makes her way up to near where Crom is and sort of beckons the rest of you. As you're moving forward, it's much easier to make the ship out now. It's a single-mast vessel, merchant, two-mast. Looks like it could have a sizable hold. You can't really make out people moving around on it just yet, but it seems to be alone.
Wow, we found a ship on the water. That's strange. It's not like there's supposed to be ships on the water.
Stranger than you might think. It's we've been seeing most of the cities on this continent withdrawing. Imperial traffic has been told to hunker down, stay close, avoid the pirates on the sea. But we ourselves have had to withdraw to Sithalagon for the meeting and for mustering our fleet. I wonder if what we're seeing here is Eridan attempting to slip something by while we're otherwise occupied. Unluckiest damn ship in the sea, if that's the case.
But it's going to go attack it then, right?
Aye, that seems like a plan. Technically, it'll be the War Mother's call, but I expect she'll trust my judgment when it comes to matters of the sea. What do you think?
Oh, it's better than them getting away and telling people about our plan.
She starts stretching all her arms.
Let's get in there.
Actually, if you wouldn't mind, I have a request to make of you, heroes. Leave this one to the crew, aye?
Oh.
We can't be counting on you to fight every battle for us. And we are experienced seafarers, after all. It would be prudent, I think, to allow a maneuver where we aren't hiding behind the skirts of Part 2's heroes. I expect to be doing that plenty often in the weeks to come.
Itching for a fight yourself, I see.
We've had celebration, we've had festivities, and we've had mead and wine and fruit. It's been a fine few weeks, and we're all riled up properly. But what we haven't had lately is a proper scrap with all these ships hiding in their coves. I think it could be a good warm-up exercise.
All right. Go on and get him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going back to bed.
No.
Ah.
She grabs Distisha by a shoulder and points her. And this will be good for you lot as well. You should get used to seeing a battle from afar and not jumping in immediately. If you're going to be in positions of importance, you're going to need to learn how to watch other people do work for you, and how to nudge them in the right direction, should you need it. Here, let me show you how the signal is. She gives some directions. Some flags are raised, banners used to signal nearby ships. And the vessel you're currently on, along with a couple of the smaller and faster ships, peel away from the small rebel fleet and begin moving more directly towards the vessel. As you get closer, Maker and Distisha also give me perception checks.
Moment. Maker is gonna delegate that.
So, Distisha, you actually notice something slightly unusual about the ship, and it seems like your pirate companion is noticing this as well from the way her eyes narrow. There are basically no people on the deck of the ship. There's a few thralls moving about, performing basic tasks. It's like a light imperial vessel with masts and rigging and all that good stuff. But you don't see any like actual crew, and there's not even that many thralls.
Huh.
Strange. Very strange.
They don't try to ram ships, right? With
No.
explosives? That's not a thing.
An imperial vessel can't build up the speed. Not one like that, anyway. I've heard of people piling a dinghy with busting powder before, but this is a full-size ship. Strange.
Well,
Strange.
proceed with caution then, I suppose, if this is something strange on the water, you would know better than I.
Indeed, I've not seen something like this before, and that concerns me in its own right. Imperial commanders aren't known for their creativity. They're usually hidebound by the book, if anything. An entire vessel, though. Strange. Strange. She mutters to herself as you continue to approach. And not a single proper soldier on board.
Are they? Is Eridan known for blowing up their own ships? Because this strategy I'm quite familiar with, blowing up my own forge.
I've never heard of them attempting it, but strange. I've never heard of them attempting it, and as I've said, I've never seen Imperial commanders to have much in the way of creativity before. This is the sort of thing you do when you're willing to strike an offensive blow, and they've taken up a quite defensive stance of their own. I'm not expecting them to move anytime soon. Even so, you're right. There's something very, very off about this, and
Well, we'll watch it from afar. Good luck.
she pauses, folding her arms. You've dealt with them more on the mainland. What would your estimation of their tactics be?
Let's. Well, one thing. They. I don't know what they would do on the water, but usually they just, as you know, send thralls in to do all the dirty work. I can. I don't know. Can they have thralls actually pilot the ships? That seems strange to me.
They
I didn't
should
think
be.
they're smart enough.
They should not be able to. That is a thing Distisha knows. There should, like, thralls without a command talisman nearby should not be able to perform any.
There might be one or two people below deck commanding the thralls. Maybe
Strange.
it's an escape vessel. Someone snatched a few thralls and are trying to seek asylum.
Possible.
Or maybe a thrall got smart.
Unsettling if true. I'd hope we do not live in such a world, but those creatures are frightening enough without any intelligence behind their masks. But I suppose we'll have to investigate. This is too strange to go totally unnoted.
Just get the cannons ready. We have cannons on this ship, right?
A few. No proper ones, but we can roll out some light guns. All right, crew. We'll be proceeding with caution. Take this one nice and slow. Pick off the thralls at range, and we'll move on to the ship once the deck is clear. No sooner. She gestures to the others, and her orders are relayed to other ships by a series of flags being waved. You are largely able to stand by as there's some exchanges of crossbow bolts and cannon fire. Although they're not really exchanges. Again, the Imperial vessel just kind of takes these shots. It sits there, the thralls kind of idly soaking up shots with minimal resistance until they eventually keel over. It looks like there's maybe like half a dozen of them on the deck. One of them did have the ship's wheel and was holding it steady, but As you get closer, once again, you notice the ship actually has its anchor dropped.
Was this not
Strange.
moving at all?
Strange. I believe it was until recently, which implies they dropped this as we began to approach. A strange strategy.
Well, we're not gonna find out just staring at it from here.
I feel as if I should board this myself, but everything screams at me that I ought to. It's... what do you say? Should we board it and seek loot, or just scuttle the damn thing where it stands?
Loot.
I do not believe it is. This is a tricky situation. I am curious enough to know what's happening with that ship myself.
Aye, the curiosity'll kill me as surely as any blast barrel. All right, then. All right. We'll, send some troops on board. Let's see what they can find. More signals, more, a little bit further with your own vessel pulling up beside the Imperial one. Boarding planks are laid down, and a group of your own investigators tentatively crosses over. Everyone looks very nervous. Someone could attempt a perform check to try to rally people.
Esticia hops up onto one of the railings and grabs the rigging. Performance.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You've already destroyed the thralls. What's left is probably just people. If you're pirates, go in there and find the loot already. Or you're just gonna stand there and be afraid of a ghost crew?
This provides some heart to the crew members who... There's some muttering, there's some laughter, some people joking about loot or being the last ones to find it, and the tentative motions become more confident as people trickle over onto the other ship and...
How far away from the ship are we with the boarding planks?
There's about a 10-foot gap between the ships.
Esticia is going to use detect magic just to see if there's anything obvious nearby.
What's the range on that?
It's a 30-foot emanation.
There is definitely magic on this ship. Down in the hold, particularly. Quite a bit of it.
Careful, men and women
Is
and
it
non.
Provide you with the school?
See.
No information beyond the presence or absence of magic. You're not doing the heightened version, right?
When she sees that stuff in the hold, she activates, casts again at the 3rd level to try and get some more information.
It's evocation magic.
That's worrisome.
She stares down at the hold for a moment. Careful, everyone. There's some blasting magic downstairs. Proceed with caution.
Caution. I see. Enya steeples her fingers and leans on the railing, looking out. We don't have
Wanna
any
poke
dedicated arcanists to diffuse such magic. If there's anything down there, then... it may be best to leave well enough alone. Unless you think you could tamper with it yourself.
I could see. Check it out. Tampering with things is kind of my job description.
We could send you into the hold to have a look and perhaps disable any traps. I can make you invisible if you want to.
Invisibility would be handy. All right. I'll go in and with the crew to find out what's in there.
All right.
Hopefully it's something handy to pull back.
You're able to hop over to the Imperial vessel. And do you take a position at the front of the other crew members or behind them?
He'll
As they move down below decks to investigate.
she'll get at the front because she'll keep her minor detect magic on just to make sure there's nothing else in the way.
It detect magic does not like highlight magic. It just tells you that there's magic nearby. It's doing that.
Okay.
It says there is magic nearby, but it doesn't give you like here's like a magic tripwire or here's like
You
a
can
magic.
choose to ignore magic that you're fully aware of, so can she ignore the one she knows of just in case there's one she didn't see?
Yes, but if the evocation effect has a trigger, you would be ignoring the trigger as well. It's one
All right.
contiguous piece of magic.
All right, then we're just gonna be careful and go forward with that.
All right. So, are you taking fore or rear?
He will take the 4.
All right. Give me a perception check as you carefully open the door to head down and start to move into the lower hold of the ship. Distisha keeps her eyes peeled, looking carefully around. It is very dark down here. There's no like lit lamps, and the aura of magic is quite strong around you. You keep your hands moving over the walls, over the railing, choosing your footing carefully to avoid tripping or triggering anything. And you find somewhat narrowly, somewhat unexpectedly, you do see a small glint of something dull and red near the base of the stairway leading down into the hold.
Oop.
Just
She stops and motions for everyone to stop for a moment.
they halt on the stairs behind you. There's a decent gap between you and them.
What do we have here?
He crouches down a little bit to look at it.
It is, give me an Arcana check.
I can do that. Finally, I get to use Arcana.
That is a trigger glyph. It is, from what Distisha can see, it's small and she's not looking at it up close, but it looks like it's just a pretty normal proximity trigger.
Trigger. I think this is trapped. Let's see. What kind is it? I wonder if this is set to explode. Let's do.
He just ponders for a moment. What are ways to Gesundheit? What are ways to disable magic like that?
There will usually be a command word that disables it. Sometimes there will also be like a key or a physical object thing to disable it. There is simply tripping it manually, which will obviously set it off, but such things usually don't have a native recharge on them, so if once they're set off, they're set off. There is attempting Do you have like scribing tools? I guess that's
Uh,
not a thing in this system.
yeah.
You can just make like a crafting check to try to like delicately, like you can do a crafting check to break the thing, the glyph, after you've identified it, which you've already done. Your Arcana check is good enough that you can see like where you would need to break the sigil in order to disarm it, but you would still need a crafting check to do so safely.
I don't think I can do that safely.
Uh,
Um,
and if you fail to do it safely, then even like a narrow failure will usually set off a glyph like this. They are tough to mess with.
yeah.
And then, of course, like you can try to dispel it or suppress the magic.
All right. I think we're gonna do the last option. Let's see. Can I do that? Then look. I do have dispel magic. So he just raises one of her hands and snaps her fingers to cast dispel magic on the trigger.
All right, make a counteract check.
Which is
You click the counteract button.
counteract. Beep.
Okay. That. Excuse me. Oh. Sorry, one sec.
Oh no! The chest burster! It's escaping!
Ow. Sorry.
That was anticlimactic for a chest burster escape.
Sorry, just like some. Ouch. Not at the tip top of my shape today, but. Yes. Uh, sorry, my whole sinuses and what have you have not been super cooperative today. But yes, that succeeds. There's always a bit of a moment of tension when you cast a spell like this, but the trigger rune is already very faint and it just dims to a dull red. It has been suppressed for now. Not totally disarmed, but suppressed.
Okay, we have about 10 minutes to take a look. Someone start counting.
You actually see one of the pirates with you pull out like a little pocket watch and turn the dial to check, and they go, marking the time, about 10 minutes. Let you know when we're
Yep.
running low.
Wind
We're
is going into your
towards
mic
tunnel.
maker.
Yes.
A bunch
Draken.
of wind was in your mic.
Draken
Oh.
has entered the hurricane,
I
but
melt into my chair, and that causes me to get in range of the vent.
Okay.
when you're the only thing standing between the wind tunnel and your microphone. But you suppress
Carefully
the glyph.
proceed.
You carefully proceed. The ship looks almost entirely empty. Give me a an engineering lore check or a perception check as you look around, but you're seeing lots of empty rooms. There's no bunks up, there's no like supplies. It looks like this is literally just like the shell of a ship carrying basically nothing except for a handful of thralls. Aside from like the 6 thralls that were on the upper deck, you don't even see any of those.
What's that trigger rune for?
You do eventually notice, after you've spent a few minutes searching, you see the wood along the sides of the staircase where you went down appear to, like, there appear to be some wooden planks that have been recently replaced, and there seem to be some wooden planks that have been replaced near the like the bottom of the ship as well, some of the floorboards.
All right. Let's pull these off the stairs. I want to see what's behind them.
Aye, Lady Valangelis. The crewmen nod and attempt to work quickly. One of them reads out that you've got 5 minutes left on the suppression. But as they peel the wooden planks off the sides of the wall, there do seem to be some just tight wooden kegs that have been like stuck in the walls, stuck in like key parts of the floorboards. Give me another engineering check, or
Perception.
perception won't really work. This is engineering.
Okay. I don't have engineering.
Well,
Lore? Just
You-
roll random lore?
That's
I
an
think
untrained
it's-
check.
Crafting?
I think that this is just something you'll get looking at it of. It seems like that the ones at the in the stairwell are positioned to like flank anyone coming down the stairs, and presumably the ones under the floorboards are positioned to do damage to the ship in some way. You can't really tell like exactly how they've been placed, but that seems intuitively like what they'd be there for. You'd need like a actual shipwright to tell you more about their positioning, but
This place... Oh, sorry.
sorry, it's but yeah, you've got like maybe a dozen of these little kegs. Each one is like wooden bound in metal, like heavy. When someone tries to like pull one out,
Do they smell like gunpowder?
they do. Yes.
All right. This place is indeed rigged to explode. Huh. I was right.
Good call, Lady Valangelis. The crewman currently holding the keg of blasting powder looks a little nervous. Are these safe to take? We can always use more gunpowder.
They should be safe for another like 3 minutes before the trigger starts again.
Does that have a range on it, or?
Oh, I don't know. If you want to start pulling these out really fast,
Probably best not to then. The crewmen hurriedly put down the kegs and begin withdrawing as one of them calls out, "About 2 minutes. We should probably get out of here, Lady Valangelis."
all right.
She just takes one more cursory look over the vessel, the room. Where's the evocation magic? Can I?
The evocation magic is embedded in each of the little kegs, it seems like.
Take one of the kegs with us. Otherwise, let's get out of here.
One of the crewmen hurriedly nods and picks up one of the kegs, wraps it in their cloak, and hurries off with you.
All right. Upstairs.
You're well out of the hull of the ship by the time the dispel wears off, and there's no bone-rattling explosion following it up. The glyph, after all, has just been reactivated, not triggered. Still, your crew does look a little that distinct mixture between nervous and relieved, and still a little nervous as they glance at the cloak-wrapped keg that one of them has brought back over, which they seem eager to hand off to literally anybody.
Just put that down on the deck. We're not bringing that over to the other ship.
On the upper deck of the
Yeah.
Imperial ship?
Yes.
Yes, it has. They put it down. Crom and Maker, you and Enya can see that. Can see what's going on here,
I
and
was right.
you're close enough that your voice carries quite easily. You're quite
This
loud when you want to be.
this ship is rigged to explode. As far as I know.
Maker is going to cast Read Aura on the keg.
What does that do exactly? Let's see.
I just
Thank you.
linked it.
Thank you for linking it. The keg is not magical, but there is something magical in the keg.
Can we have someone carefully open this? I want to see what's inside. Someone preferably in heavy armor.
You
I'll-
do the honors.
Can I just do a crafting check to open it up carefully?
You can, yes.
Vestigia stands far away on the other ship.
Chrome suffers of having more hit points than Maker in this case.
It's
All right.
33. Puts on his monocle and takes out his a couple tools and starts lightly tapping around it and kind of lifts it open the top of the keg.
It's you're able to quite easily undo the metal banding around it, screw off the top. Inside is a sizable little cache of gunpowder, along with the thing that was tripping Maker's spell, which is a little red crystal of just like a little shard of crystal that seems to be acting as like an igniting agent, like a trigger agent. Just kind of stashed in there. Probably just a very, very weak bit of magic that's designed to spark off a bomb.
All right. Yep, this place is rigged to explode. What? Were they expecting us? What are they? Or did they expect your pirate fleets to start moving out?
They shouldn't. This is...
This strikes me as an overcosted trap for pirates.
Unless... Crom, as you continue to dig around, you see there's actually... there's some stuff in this gunpowder that is not like just black powder. There are various like compounds and what have you that would make this explosion let off a lot of smoke, and a lot of colorful smoke in particular.
He
Like,
picks
like genuinely enormous amounts of it. Like this would basically be a beacon.
he picks a kind puts his fingers into the powder and kind of rubs it between them. This looks like it's some sort of beacon fire. This goes off, lots of color, lots of smoke, and basically pinpoint this location.
It's a warning signal.
Castrum Samotus is just to our south. We can't quite see it from here, but with a big enough smoke plume, I expect they could see us. Interesting.
I wonder whose bright idea this was.
How likely would not to insult you or anything, but how likely would your crew have fallen for this?
Truth be told, it's fairly likely. It's not a gambit I've ever seen them use before, and with the atmosphere as we have it now, we likely would have lost a good few men and alerted whoever this is meant to alert. Presumably they have someone looking out at this location.
Good thing you had my skirt to hide behind.
Ha, indeed. Well, mayhaps we'll be a bit more cautious in the future, and a bit more willing to...
You're part two's Navy now. Can't just attack everything willy-nilly.
I suppose we can't. Can't just go looting. Well, looting's in a pirate's blood, but we should be a bit more selective about it, maybe.
May need to hold back the urge for now.
For now. But what has me more concerned is who thought of this little scheme. It's nothing especially special, but, well, it's out of the ordinary, and that has me concerned. Last thing we need is the Eridon thinking that they can try new strategies.
Mm-hmm. A real thinker in their ranks, then.
I wonder if it's one of those the officers that they received from that one batch of reinforcements that they got.
Well, we better be careful. Who knows if if they're trying new tricks, we better keep our eyes open.
Aye, precisely. Tell me, you know more about their armies than I. Is this sort of strategy conventional on the mainland?
Well, it's really hard to get ships into the mainland.
Someone can give me a society check.
That's one of Maker's better skills. One moment.
Usually warships don't go too well on the roads.
Yeah, but there are other ways to ambush.
Maker would know that actually ambushes are really, like, ambushes, espionage, traps, these are, like, not things that Eredin usually has in their doctrine. Like, they usually just sort of march at you and crush you with overwhelming force by demanding the most open and direct confrontation they can. Like, if you've set traps for them, they will just march into them, sacrifice a few thralls to exhaust them, and then march more thralls over those. They rely on having elite troops and lots of them, and no morale issues is how they function. So this is actually significantly out of their usual doctrine. This is an irregular strategy.
Well, there is much reason for me to share that back.
Well, we've got a thinker in the ranks now. That's annoying.
It does appear we have someone with strange ideas. It's surprising the other commanders would have agreed with this plan, in fact.
I wanted to do the dirty tricks, darn it!
We
It's-
can't have monopoly over all insidious thought, Decicia.
I'll get there eventually.
Well, let's hope we can all learn to be a little bit more insidious, eh? For now, let's haul up and drop sail. We'll send a message of this little escapade onto the War Mother and let her know to be cautious moving forward. For now, I think if you can pull that little trick you did again, we can probably make good use of these these explosives. This is
Yes,
quality powder, and I'd hate to waste it.
of course.
I can agree to the idea of salvaging of this gunpowder and the ship as well, I suppose. A ship is valuable.
All right. He is going to use something. Is it Mythic Abundance?
Abundance,
No.
yes. Or which one?
The one that
lets
gives
you
you better
cast a
spell slot.
Yeah, that's abundance.
Yeah. He's going to do that to be able to cast that again.
As you do. And Distisha, you're able to lead the efforts in salvaging most of the gunpowder. Some of it goes into the stores, but you're able to keep a few of like the kegs yourself for use as bombs. These are actually like you get 4 greater alchemist fires.
Okay.
I feel like this shouldn't be throwable.
You're they're small kegs. They're
Well,
like
throw it.
yeah, Crom can do
Okay
it.
then. Fair enough.
Like just you stick a stick on the end and it's throwable. Like I don't know what alchemist bombs are, how big they are anyway, so I think they're larger than grenades, but they aren't like, you know, they're not like full size like kegs. Like each one of them is maybe like a I don't know, like 6 inches in diameter or something like that. Maybe a little more, like 8 inches in diameter. You probably want to hold them with 2 hands as you toss them, but you can toss them. They make a big boom when they land. The rest of them get allocated to the rebellion's cache.
These do surprisingly low damage.
Yeah, they're nice, just little boom explosions. Bombs don't do an enormous amount of damage because they're balanced around being weapons, basically.
Yeah, that's the job of explosive mines, which I have some. Although placing them is a nightmare.
Love explosive mine.
What did you say?
I love them. I want to
also-
play a class around them.
I have 2 free ones per day right now, but I'm trying to decide how I'm going to use them.
Distisha has like invisibility now, doesn't she? Or
I have invisibility.
I have an invisibility globe,
Oh, neat. Cool.
which I can make multiple of us invisible. But Crom is going to have to carry some of us because it's not very wide.
So we just have to have the opportunity to set up the battles.
Yeah.
You can Voltron together, Crom carrying Distisha under one arm, Maker under the other, Bayleaf like crouching down in front of him.
Riding on Bayleaf.
I don't think that would work. I think that would flatten Bayleaf.
Ride Bayleaf from with one foot and the lobster with the other. Full Voltron. We're just missing someone to form the head.
I think that's Crom. I think Crom is the head and chest. The person who forms the head is usually the chest, right? Or are those separate people?
It depends.
It depends.
Like,
but normally
it's like arm, leg, head, and chest, right? Like it's 5 people, not 6.
Yeah, it's usually 5. When it's like Power Rangers, you have the chest and the head be the same, but then you have things like Perfect Alexander, where a different thing forms the head. I assume Voltron itself also had someone separate form the head, but I don't know that series.
Oh, I want Crom to become Perfect Alexander.
Who doesn't want to become Perfect Alexander?
Yeah, who doesn't want a jet fighter to come along and slam into your neck and cause you to grow angel wings?
The angel wings are already there.
Doesn't he get like another set of them or something?
I
Oh no, he just stands up. That's literally it. He just Ragnaroses.
he just stands up and turns golden.
God. It still gets me.
Ragnar.
All these years later, Ragnaros standing up is like one of the funniest moments in the history of that game.
Ah.
But with all that, you're able to collect your loot, collect your bombs, collect a bit of experience points, and it's been a short session, a little bit of a diversion, but I think it is time to call it a bit early because I am
Iron.
very tired, and also I would like to have Bailey with us as we prepare to dock onto the mainland. So, with that, short as this session was, thank you to everyone for playing. Thanks to everyone in the audience for watching. It has been a lovely time hanging out. You can hire me to run games. Normally my sessions are longer than this. I run sessions in a wide variety of systems and genres. You can check out the About tab on my channel for a rundown on how you can get in touch with me. But until next time, be kind where you can, brave where appropriate, and always try to act in solidarity with those less fortunate than yourselves.